So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, Conor Benn, Amir Khan's tipped Conor Benn to follow in his father's footsteps and become a world champion. Conor Benn's obviously fighting this weekend, fighting Samuel Vargas, which a lot of people think is going to be a stroll walk in the park. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight. I think it's going to be a very, very hard fight for Conor Benn. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think a lot of people are overlooking Samuel Vargas. If I'm honest with you, I think a lot of people think that Conor Benn's just going to walk straight through him. I don't agree, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a very tough fight, and I think it's one that Conor Benn could easily lose as well. From what I've seen in his career so far, this is no easy fight. And I think if you think this is going to be an easy fight, you might be surprised on the weekend. But I'm not saying I'm picking Vargas, but this is a tough fight. This is a tough fight for Conor Benn. Samuel Vargas is a very, very credible guy. And if you look at the guys that he's lost to, right, you'd say all of those guys are way better than Conor Benn. Like, he's lost to Amir Khan, Virgil Ortiz, Errol Spence, Collazo, Danny Garcia. All these names are former world champions. All guys that have done a lot in the sport of boxing, and all that have competed at world level for a very long time, right? So these are the guys that he's lost to, right? Conor Benn's not in that league. You know, a lot of those guys had very good amateur pedigree, and they've, like I said, fought at world level. They're all world champions or former world champions or current. Errol Spence is a current world champion. Danny Garcia just recently challenged Errol Spence. You know, these are the names that, you know, he's just lost. He's lost to. So I think overlooking someone like Samuel Vargas would be crazy, especially the fact that, remember, Conor Benn has got no amateur pedigree, and his level of opponents that he's been fighting at is isn't great. He's been fighting at a level where a lot of the guys were handpicked, and basically, I think they've done a good job managing his career. I think they had to, because he had no amateur experience, and he was limited. There was limited experience there, so they couldn't just throw him in quickly and start stepping up quickly like they were with Josh Kelly, because Josh Kelly's got a lot of amateur experience. And yet, look, they stepped him up against Avanesian. Look what happened. He got beat. So Conor Benn, it would be even more crazy to get someone like, step Conor Benn up quickly, because Conor Benn hasn't got that amateur pedigree that someone like Kelly had, and yet Kelly still got beat. So I think the pace that Conor Benn's been moved at is fine, and I thought a lot of people give him a lot of criticism because they think that, you know, because of his dad, he's been given these opportunities when he's not really that good. Listen, at the end of the day, when he first came to boxing, right, he definitely wasn't that good. He's improved massively. He's putting in the work, and he's dedicating himself to this, and I respect that, because he's right when he says he's had it easy. He's had things very easy. He's born rich. And yet he's still grafting. He's still working very hard, right? So you got to give him the respect. And the reason why we know he's grafting, because he's improved. He has improved. That doesn't mean that I think because he's improved that he's great at the minute. No, he is what he is. But he's improving. Because when he first came, you would think that the only reason he's there is because of his dad's name. Otherwise, he doesn't even deserve to be there. But now you have to say he's there on merit. He's there because he's improved, and he's now what I would call, he's a professional boxer. He's a proper boxer. Whereas before, you'd say that, yeah, you know, he had it because of his father. You know, he got all the training. You know, but now he's you can say he's a legit fighter, and he's proven that. You know, he just beat up Formella. And he put in a great performance his last fight. Although I thought Formella was very limited and didn't have any offensive ability, nevertheless, that guy went 12 rounds with Sean Porter, or the distance with Sean Porter. And, you know, Conor Benn went the distance with Conor Benn, and Conor Benn won quite comfortably. A lot of people thought that would be tricky, but it wasn't. It wasn't. But yeah, you got to give Conor Benn credit. He has come on leaps and bounds. He has improved. He has shown that he can fight. So you have to give Conor Benn credit, because he's right when he says that his father was rich. He's had a, luxury life. He's had, you'd say, things easy. However, he's still putting in the work. So you got to admire that. You got to admire the fact that the guy's putting in the work. He's putting in the graft. And I think that must be, I think his work ethic, his desire, his hunger must be admired, man. Because like he says, I've not had things hard like other guys, but I'm still working as hard, if not harder than all of these guys. So you got to respect that. In terms of Amir Khan saying that Conor Benn can become world champion, as the landscape in the welterweight division right now and what it's looking like right now, absolutely not. In my opinion, I don't think he will. Even though he may be grafting and working hard, I think your ability takes you so far. But I don't think, if we're speaking, is he's going to become world champion? If you ask me right now, no. Because the landscape in the welterweight division, it's a dangerous division. It's too deep. It's too thick. The division's there's too many top fighters. And unfortunately for Conor Benn, the division's such where guys like Thurman, Porter, Crawford, all these guys aren't moving anywhere to 154. Because for me, Porter, Thurman will finish off welterweights. I don't think they're big enough to go to 154. I think they're very small. I think when you look at some of the light middleweights, they're massive. And when you look at Thurman, Porter, even Danny Garcia, I know Danny Garcia is talking about moving to 154. Really, these aren't, for me, big enough to go to 154. The guys at 154 are massive. Some of those guys are near 6 foot. Harrison, for example, look how big he is. He's massive. So a lot of these guys, for me, are clones for the welterweight division. Their bodies are 147-pound bodies. I don't think that they're going to move up anytime soon, especially Thurman and guys like that, very vulnerable at welterweight, let alone moving up to 154, where the guys are bigger, stronger, they punch hard. I think Errol Spence might move up because I think he's a very big welterweight, and I think he has the ability out of all of these guys to probably move up. I think Crawford may move up for the right fight, but remember, he's moved up a lot already. He's not a very big welterweight, so I don't think he's going to move up anytime soon. So as the landscape right now in the welterweight division, it's going to be very hard for Conor Benn to get near that world scene and win a world title. Very difficult. Maybe against the right opponent. But as of right now, I don't see it. Because all of the welterweight champions right now, like Ugas, all these guys are way better than Conor Benn and will beat him. But we're not even talking about that level. What I'm thinking is, what's going to be Conor Benn's next move? I know Conor Benn's calling out Amir Khan. And I understand why he's calling out Amir Khan, and I'll explain why. Because there's where is there for Conor Benn to go after this if he beats Vargas, which I don't think is going to be an easy fight by any stretch, because I think he could lose this. But where is he going to go after this fight? What's his next move? Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn are going to have to sit down and plan it very well, because the public are going to expect a step up from Samuel Vargas. And when you look at the landscape, there's guys like Avanesian, right? Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis is fighting Sergey Lipnets, right? That's a very good fight. Virgil Ortiz just fought Maurice Hooker. I know that those guys might be looking for like the big names now. But imagine if Conor Benn puts in an impressive performance, stops Vargas. He'd go into a fight against Avanesian, an underdog. He'd go into a fight with Ennis and Virgil Ortiz as an underdog. Now, the Amir Khan fight, I still think he'd be an underdog in that fight, and I would still pick Khan to beat someone like Benn, and Brook to beat Benn. He's probably looking at it that those fights are huge domestic fights here in the UK, right? They make him a shed load of money, and those guys are on the slide. So he would probably have a better chance of beating someone like Khan and Brook, and they would be bigger money fights. They would be huge money fights, especially the Khan fight, because Khan's got a huge name, and I think that fight would be a big fight for Conor Benn. Like financially, I think that you could put that on pay-per-view, it'd be huge. And it'd be like the old guard against the young guard, the guy coming through, and it's whether the young guy can come through and win. I still think it's risky, but it's high risk, high reward, which is worth taking for Conor Benn, because Amir Khan's got a huge profile. There's going to be huge attention on that fight, and that's going to make for a good good, there's going to be a lot of hype around it, a lot of marketing. I feel like that would be a big fight for someone like Conor Benn. And he can gain a lot from that. But the next move is going to be very tough, because if it's not Amir Khan, who's he going to fight next? If it's not Kell Brook, who's he going to fight next? Because he'll be an underdog in his next fights, most likely, if he steps up. If he doesn't fight someone like another Samuel Vargas, someone like that. Now, for me, I reckon Keith Thurman was in talks to fight Devin Alexander and Andre Berto. For me, if I was Conor Benn, I would be looking at guys like that. Because for me, those guys like that at the end of their career, right? I didn't even know Devin Alexander was still fighting, but Devin Alexander would be a good name, because he's a guy that's a former unified light welterweight champion and a former welterweight world champion. Devin Alexander might even come to the UK to fight Conor Benn because of where his career's at now, right? And that would be a big fight. That would be a big fight for Conor Benn. It'd be a good learning fight. Now, could be dangerous as well, but I think Devin Alexander is so past his best that Conor Benn should be able to beat him. But again, that would be dangerous, because that would be a step up from Vargas as well. Because although Alexander might be short, I still think Alexander could be dangerous for someone like Benn, because Alexander's a very good boxer. And he was known for being a good slick southpaw. That would be very dangerous. But like I said, I think the next move is going to be tough for Conor Benn, because I think no matter where he goes, there's a good chance he could lose. And I think it's going to be very tough for Eddie Hearn and him to come up with a strategy on who they're going to fight next, especially if they can't get the fights that they want with Khan and Brook, which I don't think is going to happen, because I think Khan and Brook will fight each other. I don't know what next for Benn. I'm being honest with you. I don't know where next for Benn, and I think wherever he goes, there's a great chance he might lose, and that's why I think they're trying to get financially the best fight for him that pays him the most. And the fight that will pay him the most is the Amir Khan fight. And it's probably the most winnable fight. Even though I don't think he wins, right? I still think that it's the most winnable fight, and he'll get paid a shed load of money for fighting Amir Khan. So I can understand why he wants the Khan fight. I respect Conor Benn, man. I respect what he's done. The fact that, he's worked so hard and got himself into this position. You got to respect the hustle, because like I said, he didn't need to do all of this. He didn't need to put in the graft, because he came from a very privileged background. His dad was rich. He was born into being rich, but yet he's still putting in the work, and he's still improving. He's probably one of the most improved British fighters. And that's been done through hard work. So you got to respect that. He's not with his family. His family's in Australia. He's now in the UK training his butt off. So you got to give respect to that. It's just that I don't know how good he is. I don't know how far his ability would take him, because you can work as hard as you want. Your ability will only take you as far as it can go. Because there's other guys that are working just as hard, but are a lot more talented than you are. And those are the guys, when you come up against them, that's when you're going to struggle. Like Samuel Vargas, he might be able to get through that. But it's like I said, the next step after that is going to be the one that's tough. Because unless he's fighting like a faded fighter, if he's fighting somebody at his level like an Ennis and Ortiz, who I believe are more talented than him, he's going to struggle. And those guys are young, hungry, determined, just like he is. And they're more talented than him. And I don't think he would stand a chance against those guys. But that's just my opinion. It's not hating on Conor Benn. I like Conor Benn. I think it's great what he's doing. But at the end of the day, from what I've seen from him and what I've seen from the other guys, the hot prospects, I think I honestly would like to see him fight like an Ennis or an Ortiz. I would love those fights, but I don't think that's going to happen. Now, Avanesian would be a good fight, but again, that's too dangerous, because for me, he would be an underdog in that fight. And is Eddie Hearn really want to put Conor Benn in with someone like Avanesian, or would he rather him fight someone like Amir Khan, who's probably just, if not as dangerous, he's not as dangerous as Avanesian right now, but Conor may still be an underdog, but he's fighting a faded guy that's inactive, that's vulnerable. And it's a big money fight. It does Conor Benn a lot of good if he wins for his profile, reputation-wise. And if he loses, he's getting paid a shed load of money. for it. Whereas the other fights, he's not going to get paid as much, and they're just as risky, if not more risky. So why wouldn't he be calling out Amir Khan? Why wouldn't Eddie Hearn want to make the fight for his client in Conor Benn? It makes sense. But the only way they're going to be able to get Amir Khan is if they pay him a shed load of money. They're going to have to pay Amir Khan well, where he feels it's worth his while. Because Amir Khan wants to fight Kell Brook, which he knows will be a big fight. So if they're willing to pay Amir Khan a lot of money for it, then I'm pretty sure he'd consider it. Because really, Conor Benn it'd be... He might not want to take it even if they offer him good money. He may say, no, I want to fight Brook or nothing, or I'm going to retire. You know, you can't make someone fight because he may not want to fight Conor Benn. But I don't know. I think the next move is going to be very tough for Conor Benn. Very tough. I think they're going to have to look at very wisely what they want to do next. Because, like I said, I personally would target, if you can't get Conor Brook, someone like Berto or Alexander. But at the end of the day, it's going to be tough wherever they go next. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Where do you think Ben should go? And leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.